I like it a lot.
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 Holy Jesus, look at the fun bags on that hose hound.
Oh, baby. We here.
Steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Ted Grossi. That's Brandon Sexy Muffin Face Perna. And this is GPS. I have to ask, did you get a haircut? No, right?
No, I need one so bad.
No, but you look good with the long hair. I'm telling you, with that, with the mustache, it's looking pretty good.
It's so long.
I feel like if you like keep it, and just keep it a little bit longer, you could play a Star Wars villain.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think you could do it.
Darth.
Well, now you look like you should be a high schooler in Greece, the original version when they were all like 35 years old.
I'm just a regular high school kid. I'm not a 30-year-old man playing an 18-year-old.
Yeah, no, you're fine. It'd be great. You just get into musicals. Well, how's your singing voice?
Terrible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sadabariche.
By the way, Mr. Getting Around there now, Heed the Call, right?
Go check out Heed the Call.
How's that experience?
That was cool. That was very cool to talk to people, you respect.
Sure. We don't get that here.
The opposite, I feel, of clickbait every Thursday. No, it's cool. I posted the link on the community tab. We did a video last year about their show getting kicked off the NFL Network because it went silent and everybody's wondering like what's happening to the show, what's happening to the show. So we did a video about that, and you forget like the people who make the thing sometimes are going to see your video. So they really appreciated that video, and then I got in contact with them this last year, and then they reached out. So I was very excited. I had to have some questions prepared. I was a little nervous. I was like, I can't mess it up.
You had to come prepared?
Yeah, because we did the entire AFC. So each person prompted a question to start the discussion for the group. So I had to pick 4 AFC teams to do. Well, 3. They gave me the Broncos, obviously. And somebody commented, it was so weird compared to GPS, where you guys, on this show, you went in and you started talking about what you said you were going to talk about immediately versus being 50 minutes into the show and you and Tom just decide to start getting to the title. I was like, fair. That's very fair.
He's like, we should get to this at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like the title of the video. It's fine.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying it was organized and run like a real show.
Yeah. Well, they had a timer, so you had 3 minutes for each team, so it was nice. All right. But yeah, it's cool. Very fun experience.
Hell yeah, man. I'm very happy for you. Perna's channel's blowing up right now. We're rocking. I saw Shedeur Sanders. The video is trending on the YouTubes.
About time, YouTube.
Did you notice that or no?
No, not.
I love how
every time I've ever trended, you have broke the news to me, Tom. I was in bed watching. What was I watching?
Listen, you
Reacher,
gotta
maybe?
make sure.
I was watching Reacher.
You stand up for your friends and go, hey! That's right. We show off our friends here. That's all.
Yeah. No, you've been very supportive. It was a great week. An insane week for you being at the draft. We've been working our asses off. And it was nice, like, because things were a little slow before the draft, and then shit be popping. So just keep grinding. Keep your head down. And then bring it back up whenever, a Shedeur Sanders or Bill Belichick story happens.
So do we have to just hope that Arch Manning starts falling, when he gets drafted, that he goes in the 6th round to really just build those views?
He has to enter the draft and then on draft day decide he's going back to college. That's the only way we're going to get a bigger story than what happened to Shedeur.
That's fair.
And I don't think Arch is going to come out next year. I think he's going to play 2 years, start 2 years at Texas, but we'll see.
Big Bash, don't you worry. We're going to finish the list because we ended off on the Colts on Monday. Yes. And then Brandon's like, I got to go pee. And I was like, fair. And so we're going to finish that list today. We're going to talk about George Kittle becoming the highest paid tight end in the NFL. Talk about some 5th-year options that are getting picked up. Jalen Carter just got picked up. So we got a bunch to talk about. We'll do some recap of the draft, and I'm sure we'll go off the rails at some point.
Yeah.
So we're going to...
I did see this morning.
And you got Will Howard, so don't forget.
The Falcons were fined $250,000, and Jeff Ulbrich got a $100,000 fine for the prank call, making this one of the most expensive prank calls in history.
Okay, let's talk about that for the hottest of seconds. First of all, if we mentioned this a little bit on Monday, if your child, because he went on the iPad and got the phone number, that was what the story was, right?
Yes.
If you were the defensive coordinator for an NFL team and your fully ass grown child, right, 21 years old, right? That's right. Went onto your iPad, stole a phone number for a prospect, made a prank phone call, and now got you fined $100,000, and your dad's boss fined $250,000. Do you ever see the light of day again?
Disowned.
I
Guantanamo.
I dropped something in my childhood, and it was like, no, it's over. Could you imagine getting your dad fined $100,000?
No,
you are disowned. You're out of the will. You're shown. It's basically Succession with the line crossed out. Yeah, holy crap. Yeah. You know what? Mines, yes. Yeah. 350. Yeah, I'd be dead.
Yeah. I mean, it is the reasoning is what I wanted to pull up here. Failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information distributed to the club in advance of the NFL draft.
Do you think he had a password, and was it 12345? Could be.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think a little bit of the backstory there is Shedeur had to change his number before the draft. I think he might have changed his phone number twice because people getting his number.
He got a certain phone. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was that's why when the prank happened, it was a little bit strange because we got fed the story that, the only people that had access to his number were NFL clubs and organizations. And that's when people oh shit, something else happened there. Mm-hmm. But my dad, he wanted to be a hard ass, I think, when we were kids, because his dad was a hard ass, but my mom never let that happen. So we were raised pretty soft. I did break a window once with a golf ball. I was trying to hit my sister, and luckily I didn't.
Hold on, you tried to hit your sister with a golf ball?
Her and her friend were on the swing set, and I tried to hit him with the golf ball. Missed them.
With the club?
Real golf ball. After my dad told me I could only play with a wiffle ball in the backyard to practice my golf swing. Broke the window. Then my friend, my fucking coward of a friend, ran inside and told my dad what happened. I'll never forgive you for that, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon.
Brandon.
Wait, so you had a Brandon friend?
Yeah, he was. We were both Brandons.
Are you still friends with him today?
Yeah.
You've obviously never forgiven him for this golf story.
No, never. Ran in and told on me, and my dad came out and saw what happened, and he was so mad. The only thing he could think to do is he ran over and he kicked me in the butt. Not super hard, but kicked me in the butt. And I imagine if at 21, I can't I just think of Michael Scott spanking his nephew in the thing. I feel like that would have happened. And I never got spanked growing up, but I feel like that would have been a spanking situation.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, when I blew my knee out in college because I was drunk, The
Did
shame
your dad
I
go
felt.
nuts to the window?
Yeah, the shame I felt like returning to my family because I had to get my MRI when I was back at home with my parents. My mom's like, something's wrong with your leg. I'm taking you to the doctor.
Because it's falling off.
But being like, oh yeah, this happened because I was drunk. I was like 21, same age as Ulbrich's kid. I just felt so bad I was like, this decision's affecting my parents now.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was on their insurance, so they had to pay for that surgery, surgeries. But this is way worse. This prank is way worse.
It's so much worse. It's
so much worse.
So yes, I'm not entirely shocked about the update because of what the Packers did in the draft. So just to recap real fast for people who are not in the loop. So heading into this offseason, the vast consensus of people said, hey, Jaire Alexander is most likely not going to be on the team. And the reason why is because that contract needs to be restructured. You need Jaire to be willing to come to the table. The Packers need to be willing to come to the table. There's all these stories that are going on, and it just seems like it's not heading in a great direction. But then there's basically kind of radio silence. There's some rumors that there's some teams reaching out to try and trade for Jaire Alexander, et cetera, et cetera. So then he's working out with Xavier McKinney in the offseason. And you're like, okay, but you're still not hearing anything. The draft is getting real close, and we're still not hearing anything. Maybe he's going to get moved on draft day. And then what winds up happening is the only corner that's drafted by the Green Bay Packers in this draft is the 7th round pick that I announced. And so there's a thought that I was talking about this on draft night. Maybe Jaire is staying because we just don't know. And then right after the draft, the news drops are like, no, nothing's changed. And I'm like, I don't know how much I believe that because, we went out, we got Hobbs from the Raiders, right? We still have Nixon back there. We have Carrington Valentine back there, but we need another corner. And obviously they didn't address that in the draft. And so it just came out that apparently there may be a reconciliation with the Packers, that they might be able to work out a deal that he's going to play in 2025. So again, this is all, we'll kind of see what happens, but it seems like this is the most positive news that has come out so far. And again, from the Packers perspective, I don't see, obviously there's injury concerns. You have to bring them to the table. But at the end of the day, like you need another body back there. Yeah. And when Jaire is healthy, right, he is still a very good corner. And so I would imagine that they're going to do everything they can to try and get him to stay, because otherwise I still don't know what they're doing in that secondary. So yes.
The craziest thing that could happen, they trade him to the Broncos at this point.
Yeah.
Go to the team that drafted one of the best corners that we didn't see coming, and then we make an extra trade for a corner. That's what should happen.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Raphael, I don't think it's hypocritical. I think this is the one that just got the most amount of attention because Shedeur Sanders got all the attention for 3 days during the draft, right? And I feel like because you had a prospect that was going, potential, or at least was mocked to go in the first round and to fall to day 3. I mean, when that happened, I was like, yeah, it's kind of just a douchey move. And then you heard that these other pranks happened, right? So Tyler Warren so how did that happen? Did they not get new phones too? Is that just a scenario where, because I didn't hear, that's just me, I haven't heard much from the other prank phone calls, because I imagine that Ulbrich's son just did this one. Yeah. Unless he was a serial prank caller and just did it throughout the entire draft.
One guy I wouldn't be pranking is Tyler Warren.
No, I wouldn't either.
I'm not pranking a giant tight end. No. Maybe a speedy returner I'd prank.
Sure.
I wouldn't even prank the Broncos' new punter they drafted. Crashaw. That dude's like 6'4". So I'm running a few punts. I'm like, ooh, this guy's got some fake potential.
Oh yeah, my last name is completely gone. I don't even have a name anymore. $100,000, $100,000.
Yeah.
What? Hold on,
and I know Ulbrich's got, he's got interim coach money, but come on now, $100K out the door.
Let's see. So Ulbrich, his estimated salary with the Jets was $1.6 million.
Before taxes.
Okay. There's no public number, but yeah, $100,000. I'm sleeping outside. I'm digging a hole to go to the bathroom. Yeah.
If I was Jeff and I'm paying for my kid's college, I'm not anymore, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay for college.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're taking out loans and you're like, I'm in debt forever. Oh well. That's it. That's how it goes.
It is a funny story. I think there's people try and make the prank they try to make it a little too serious. Like, oh my God, this is heartbreaking.
I think it's just a douchey thing to do.
It is a very douchey thing to do. But it, like, you know, it's just. I think
it'd be worse if he didn't get drafted. Let me put it that way, right? Because like the night that it happened, I was like, oh, that's kicking a guy while he's down, right?
Yeah, it's a low thing to do.
A low blow. And then, you know, for him to get drafted, you know, in the 5th round, you're kind of like, okay, he got drafted, like it kind of worked itself out. And now, you know, you're costing the organization and your dad $350,000 combined, which can you imagine that, like, I don't know the family dynamic, that like the Falcons knew who I have to imagine they know his son, right? Maybe he's come to a few games. He's hung out in the suite a few times. Not anymore. You're paying for a ticket, general admission, and you're going all the way up. You're getting the Jordan Love family seats in Kansas City.
If your dad's nickname is Brick, also not a guy you probably want to piss off.
Yep. Hey, listen, prank phone calls, I get it. I did them when I was younger. Not when I was 21 years old, but I did it, and not to NFL players, but
no.
Yeah, Sanders might track him down. It might not.
Dude, I think next year we got to see somebody's house get TP'd during the draft. Somebody's house got to get TP'd while they're getting drafted. That's the next move. I did want to point out another thing that's funny before we get into the rest of the draft here.
Oh, and real quick, I do want to talk about this too. Karakina. So this was mentioned on Monday, the Brandon Beane comments. So he called the radio station. Yeah, finish your story, and then I do want to talk about
No, we can talk about Beane first, because it's not really a story.
So do you think that he's being thin-skinned? No. I think the fact that he called into the radio station live and basically just called them out to their faces and being like, hey, I know you need something to talk about, but you guys wanted me to get Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got Josh Allen. I was like, that's it. There's no leg that you just go, yep, you win that one. You wave the white flag, and that's all.
I mean, the thing because he kept saying, you guys are bitching about us.
Yeah.
You're bitching about us not getting Josh Rosen. You're bitching about us not getting a receiver. And I think he even said in there, like, I understand the criticism last year about, like, the receiver room. He's like, but we led the league in points scored. If you go through the playoffs, we scored more points than any other offense, you know, on average last year, which is a fair point.
They were including the playoffs.
What's that?
They were the most, like, the highest scoring team throughout, if you include the playoffs.
Yeah, if you include the playoffs, which, you know, very nice, very important. But I think, like, what they were speaking to on the radio show, to be fair to them, is just, like, what I think fans were complaining about, right? Like, fans were hoping maybe they would add another weapon there. Doesn't mean it's the right move. Their bigger problem was, you know, it's defense in the playoffs. So I understand why he's frustrated. And I honestly I like when a GM gets fired up like that. Like, I know what I'm doing. Stop bitching about everything we do. We are a very good football team every single year. And now the expectations are so high because it's Super Bowl or bust every year for the Bills. And every year that they don't do that, they're going to be criticized for the littlest things. And it just showed, I think, a very human side of, like, the GM role, and also, like, just the radio dudes not expecting him to come in so hard.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't like I don't think they're like shock jocks trying to say, like, crazy stuff. I think they're just being critical about what fans were kind of talking about. So it was very entertaining.
It's always interesting too, because you usually don't see a GM do that, right? Of just, like, calling into a local radio show and being like, your takes are not good. Like, your takes misinformed on this one. And I feel like that I can understand why some fans be like, all right, that's a little bit low. You need to, like, kind of ignore the noise. But then there's the other side of it where it's like, hey, it's like you said, they're getting fired up and they're making the point of, like, this is why, right? You want transparency of, like, why we're not going to get one. This is why I'm backing it up. We have the most points scored in the AFC through, including the playoffs. Yeah. So I get it. I just wish
Belichick's girlfriend was around when he was an NFL GM. You know? Because he wouldn't have called into the radio show, but she might have.
She might have.
That would have been fun.
She might have.
How dare you criticize the N'Keal Harry draft pick? My boyfriend knows what he's doing.
Cole Strange is going to be an all-pro.
And just giving Belichick the title boyfriend.
Yeah.
That guy has never really been a friend to anyone. And he hasn't been referred to as a boy since he was like 9.
Yeah.
He turned 10 and it's like, that's a full-grown man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a curmudgeon right now.
Hoodie and everything.
You know what, Jackery? I think you guys are all right because you've got the succession plan post Russell Wilson. Just get prepared for Russ to give you a few plays every game that you're like, damn, that guy still got it. And then to give you a few plays every game where you go, why is a man who's been in the NFL this long making this mistake? And then he will open the door for Jaxson Dart.
Mm-hmm. If you just had Russell Wilson, I'm just like, buckle up. It's not going to be a fun year. But now you have potential, right? You're going to have Jameis back him up. We'll see if we see Jaxson Dart and how he is going to develop. So at least you have that to at least fall back on at least a little.
Yeah. And to be like very fair, Jack, I wanted Russell Wilson in Denver for the next year with a rookie quarterback. I'm like, if you go into the season and you've got a guy can start and you don't have to throw your rookie in right away, that's fine. Then, they moved on from him. And then Bo Nix was probably the most ready to start quarterback in that draft in terms of how much he had played. It was him, Penix, and Jaden Daniels played a lot. But you'll be fine. Buys Jaxson Dart sometime. And Jaxson Dart, by the way, I don't think anybody's really... we've talked a lot about how we kind of evaluate these quarterbacks, what they've done in college, but Jaxson Dart, kind of a hottie, Tom. Kind of a good-looking man. Got this kind of young Troy Aikman vibe about him,
I get you.
I don't think anybody's talking about how hot Jaxson Dart is. Because every time I see him, I'm like, fuck. I wish I looked like him when I was 22, 23.
But he's going to wish that he looks like you now, so.
Yeah, he'll get there.
Once you hit 40, you're like, man, I wish I had that Brandon Perna vibe.
That's right. Those rugged good looks.
Mm-hmm. Ellie, yeah. it's just tough times. Do we want to jump to the draft, or did you want to talk about...
this is just... My only thing I wanted to say is I don't know how the real trolls do it, Tom. I don't know how they do it. Because... So this was my thumbnail, all right? Now, to be fair, I tested 2 thumbnails, Tom. I tested 2.
I
put a fair one in for the Chiefs with a question mark. I put a fair one in there. I put 2 question marks. Both have a little bit of intrigue.
I also love how you're just like, oh, I'll be really modest and give my team a B+ so it doesn't look like favoritism. And look how well these other competitors did. Yep. But the Chiefs, F-.
F-. And to be super fair, I put Mahomes' picture there because I was like, I don't want to put one of these guys who just got drafted to the Chiefs and that person to think I'm saying that guy is an F-. I'm like, that's not fair to the young man entering the league, even if he's going to play for the Devils. The cocksucking Devils. Not going to do that to that man. Okay? I'm not going to do it.
Just Mahomes.
Cole got it, And then I'm like, Chiefs fans are terrified. Thinking, and I forget there's a lot of Chiefs fans who don't understand what I do. I make that mistake.
Jordan. Probably the Chiefs.
So all the Chiefs fans here, they get it. And if you watch the video, I'm fair to the Chiefs. Do I use devil and satanic references to them for every pick? Yes.
But that's
But I actually never say they get an F. I said the whole AFC West did pretty good in the draft. I think it's going to be more competitive. But then just a troll's got to be fine with the people getting really worked up. And go all the way down to just shut up, baby dick. Shut up, baby dick. I'm like, damn. I don't think I can live in the troll world. I don't think I can live in the troll world.
You could dab your toe in it.
Yeah.
You could dab your toe in it, but it's a full-time gig. It really is. So that's it.
Oh,
$700 phone bill as a team. Yeah. You just erased. You're just like gone. I love the Back to the Future reference. I'm sure Perna appreciates that too. Your family photos, your childhood photos start disappearing because you cost them $100,000. They're retroactively. Your parents are building a time machine and going back to when you were conceived and be like, you know what? Not tonight. Not tonight. It's going to cost us $100,000 in the future.
Yeah, the average cost of raising a child, they always give you like some astronomical number.
Yep.
For the Ulbrichs, it's 100,000 more than that.
Hey, listen, the Oak Bay and Green Bay pipeline has always been strong, right? Of course, you got Charles Woodson. Of course, you got Josh Jacobs. Devontae Adams even going over there too. Now you got the Eric Stokes and Hops. Come on now. It's always been. We've always had a good relationship with the Raiders. So.
Anytime somebody says something I don't like, I'm just going to say, shut up, baby dick, from now on.
That's fair. Oh, real quick, since we're just waiting to get into the draft anyway, and we'll just talk for about time. Let's talk about George Kittle super quick. So George Kittle getting a major extension, is now the highest paid tight end in the NFL. Got a 4-year, $76.4 million deal, including $40 million guaranteed. Now, he's currently 31 years old. So George Kittle getting a little bit older, right? I want to see if they give me 2 seconds.
How old is Kelsey?
He's in his he's got to be like 33, 34.
35. Okay.
A little bit older.
Okay.
Let me see if this is actually written out yet. Okay, so it's just estimated right now. So it's estimated of a $22 million cap hit. So I'm sure, yeah, it's going to go down as the years go on. So when he's like 33, it's a 6 mil. Again, these are just estimates, like 6.6 mil. But yeah, how do you feel about this contract? I get it because, George Kittle, even as a blocker, you want him on the squad. It's a lot of money, obviously. Where are you with kind of how the 49ers have been operating this offseason? I mean, in terms of just they didn't go get another O-lineman in the draft, I think just having as many blockers as humanly possible is great. But do you think this has any impact on like Brock Purdy or the contract that he's going to get?
No, I think it probably signals that Purdy's going to make maybe a little more money than we were guessing.
Okay.
I mean, they I don't know. I think for the 49ers, in terms of heading into this next season, they feel like more uncertain than they have in a while in terms of what they're going to do on the football field versus like they're going to be fine. Every year, the thing that derails them is injuries. You know what I mean? It's every other year and they get all these injuries and then they don't live up to expectations. They've lost a handful of players. 2 have come to the Broncos, Greenlaw, Hufanga. I think they had to pay Kittle. God, oh my God. George, I apologize.
You're good. I got you.
I would never, ever,
Here we go,
ever disrespect you like that, George. Calling you Kelsey. Sorry, George. You're so much better at blocking than him. So much better at blocking. They need George Kittle. He's such an important piece on their offense. And it is because he does both block and catch touchdowns. And I think Purdy's success this following season is going to depend on Kittle being there. And if you pay Purdy a lot and then he looks shit, that's the worst case scenario for the 49ers. If he looks average. So I think you're just securing, another one of his weapons, a really important part of their entire offensive scheme. It's not just that he's a good tight end. You can't replace what he does for them and what Shanahan asks of him to do and how he helps like the other guys around him.
Well, I think it's also, you saw how many guys left during free agency, right? And like that team, the window, I don't know how open it is. I feel like this is their way of saying, let's try and pry it open a tiny bit more.
It's cracked open.
It's cracked open.
Kyle's like, I'm still a good coach, idiots.
Yeah, I feel like once Williams leaves, like that's when it's like really going to be bad. But
sure.
Yeah, I think they're trying to just get as much as they possibly can. But yeah, dude, like we'll kind of see what that Brock Purdy contract looks like. And Dan, to answer that, if Carr doesn't play for the Saints to start, do you think Shough is going to get a chance to start right away? I think that it's going to be a couple things. If Carr can't go, then Rattler, I would assume, is going to get first reps. But if Shough is so good during camp and beats him out, then they might just give it to him. But Rattler might get the start just because he's a veteran, and then they might move over. So that's how I'd imagine. But it might come down just to camp and who wins.
Tyler Shough starts day one. Guarantee it.
There you go. Exactly, Sean.
Guarantee it.
Gone. Never. All right. You want to talk about the rest of this? These draft.
We left off at the Colts.
Yes, we did. So, there you go, Max. There you go.
I think they got a good back late in the draft there. DJ Giddens. The position group I knew the most about, running backs, because we thought, this is what the Broncos are going to go after. And of course they did. Of course they got the guy I probably spent the most time looking at, the least time looking at. But he's definitely RJ Harvey's the best one. But I like this pick late for the Colts. They also had a quarterback, which could be a little interesting.
Definitely K-Right.
And then Hunter fell to him. Thought they would have to trade up to get him. We flip-flopped the power rankings of the tight ends. What did I say? Did I say punter?
I think you said Hunter.
What the
So yeah, Tyler Warren, Colts fans are super happy that he just fell right into their laps. I mean, they need to also just get better on defense, right? They lost a couple pass rushers. They lost some folks in the trenches. So I think, going to get JT in the second round, that's pretty darn solid. And then building up that secondary again. I mean, obviously the biggest question with the Colts is just what the hell is their offseason going to look like with their QB battle between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. And Colts fans praying that Anthony Richardson wins that out, because otherwise... Small. Isaiah Simmons going to the Packers. So he signed a 1-year deal with the Packers yesterday. So there's rumors he went and visited the whole 9 yards. I don't have a ton of excitement just because of the production that's been on the field. Obviously, he's insanely athletic and insanely gifted. He's actually a pretty good special teams player, and I could see them utilizing him at least a little bit. But the thing I'm excited for is he's going to have a chance to compete in camp, right? And if Halfley can, bring anything out of him, I think it's exciting. But it's basically kind of, low risk, potentially good reward there. I don't see why not. You take a shot on him. He's obviously a former top 10 pick. So, dude, I was also holy crap. Talk about being wrong. When Isaiah Simmons, because he went to the Cardinals, when he got drafted coming out of college, I was like, oh, this guy, there's no way that he is not going to be good, because his tape was insane. And then, yeah, man, I mean, it just shows how difficult it is to play in the NFL.
They misused him. They didn't play him. They didn't find a good position for him.
Yeah, and then he went to the Giants, right? He was hanging around there for a while. So, again, cautiously optimistic. And if he can contribute in any way, I'm happy with it. So, yeah.
I'm gonna keep the helmet of shame on until I earn everybody's trust back.
That's fair. Why is it the helmet of shame?
Because it's That's Good Sports. Nothing more shameful than my own fucking logo.
Okay.
Solid draft, though, Indy. Until you figure out your quarterback situation, probably doesn't matter. Is Anthony Richardson going to make it through a full season? Is Dan Jones going to start for you? You going to throw Riley Leonard in there at the end of the year?
May 14th, French. May 14th is when the schedule is getting released. So a couple weeks from now. So May 14th, the schedule will be released. I'll do the live stream, the whole 9 yards. It's a whole big event. So I have not set up any drafts. I have not.
That actually hurts. It's tight.
That's why it's the helmet of shame.
It's a helmet of shame. It's gonna give me a headache, though.
Ooh, I'm curious what you think about the Jaguars. I'm very curious what you think about the Jaguars.
They got another running back I like, Bashal Tootin. Got to hold on to the ball. Had some fumbling problems, but explosive. I love Travis Hunter. It's just we're not going to know how we feel about the Travis Hunter pick for a couple years just based on how much they gave up to acquire Travis Hunter. It was a steep price, but he's insane. I like it. I think they have a plan to use him. They wanted him. I think, we all laughed at Gladstone's speech after they drafted him. It was one of the most dramatic hype speeches we've seen.
Yep.
But I think it's good. And there were two other players the Jags wanted, and they were both players that the Broncos drafted. It was R.J. Harvey and it was Pat Bryant, the receiver out of Illinois. Mm-hmm. And there was an article published that both times the Broncos took the guy a lot earlier than like the Jags were anticipating, thought they could get him. And so I have to think they know what they're doing if they wanted the same guys my team wanted. Okay.
Yeah. That's what you got to hope. I feel like I love the Caleb Branshaw pick. I'm happy with that. I feel obviously it's expensive and we're not going to know until a couple years. If Travis Hunter is that guy, if he is just above and beyond, like has that kind of career, this is going to age really well. But even if it doesn't, I kind of have to applaud the Jacksonville Jaguars for taking a shot here, right? Yeah. Because they're another team that there's a lot of question marks heading into the season. You know, you want Trevor Lawrence to stay healthy, you know, take that next step. Their defense was abysmal last year, right? Their offense didn't look in sync. And it kind of is a pretty big downfall considering where they were when they were in the divisional round against the Chiefs. And they blew the lead within their division. It hasn't looked good. Last year did not go well. So I feel like to go and get an impact player in Travis Hunter, you're like, hey, like we're trying to get a shot of adrenaline here. And if it pans out, great. If not, you know, it's not going to age well. But I feel like they needed kind of a shot to the arm for this upcoming season and be like, all right, we need something to kind of get excited about, and that could put us over the top.
Yeah. Lanny? I think it's multiple reasons. Shedeur fell. We talked about it, but Vic Lombardi mentioned something that I thought was interesting here in Denver. And I think Vic probably has some decent sources, but he was basically saying the two things he kept hearing were, in terms of like football reason, the thing that really turned off evaluators was Shedeur Sanders' sacks, the sacks he was taking, that he was taking too many sacks. And that was part of the conversation before. Like, that's not a surprise. He took a ton of sacks. 2023, it was 100% because CU's line was terrible. Second year, I think there's probably football people who will debate how much of that's on him. But holding on to the ball was an actual football critique. So the sacks were one thing if you're looking at a purely football-specific evaluation. The other thing he said was that teams felt that Dion and the Buffs were inflating Shedeur's numbers, that their offense was designed to pad some of his stats, and it made him tougher to evaluate, and they felt like they were giving him more opportunities to put up numbers than he deserved. So that was just like a new, unique thing that I hadn't really heard before. In addition to, you know, not having an agent, Dion being kind of somebody people didn't want to deal with, and also Dion probably not getting an honest answer about what guys really thought about Shedeur.
Well, that's the agent's like job, right? Because it's like, hey, this is where I'm getting a feel for all these NFL teams, and this is what I'm hearing and where you're going to get drafted, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of reasons as to why he fell as far as he did. And I think you mentioned the agent, you mentioned Dion, you mentioned some of the QB play. I was surprised he didn't go day 2. Day 1, I'm like, okay. Day 2, I was like, okay, this is or
day 3 to the Steelers. Like, that's when it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway, Chiefs got an A, apparently. Ha 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 ha. A for the Chiefs.
Art.
Did they get an A, or are we just like, the Chiefs are so good, they could draft anybody, and we're going to give them an A?
I don't know, dude. I like some of their picks. Williams, I really like. Royals, I really like. Simmons, I'm the biggest fan of. Good God, man. Again, if he's healthy, it's worth a 30-second pick.
Yeah.
And they can feel like Super Bowl
Gelate. Yeah, it's like Jalen Royals. We assume he's going to be great because he's a receiver going to the Chiefs. The interesting thing I heard about Royals, like, because I think didn't he run he kind of had like a slower 40 time for what they thought, but he'd been kind of rehabbing from an injury, and that he actually is like I think one of his 10-second splits or whatever.
He ran
one of the best
4.42.
times. Like he is an explosive receiver. So yeah, just throw in another fast guy and it'll probably work out, Kansas City.
Okay, I do like what the Chiefs did. Obviously the 32nd pick is a little bit of a risk, but good God, man,
F-.
it's low risk, insanely high reward. You think the Eagles should pick up Justin Simmons?
Sure, I love Justin. If anybody can use him properly, Mike McDonald. I think he's just getting a little old. Yeah, that Elway situation is crazy.
I just saw that. So yeah, he was driving a golf cart, and it's his ex-agent, right, who was like in the cart with him, and his agent fell out and hit his head, and now is on life support.
Yeah, he's not going to make it. His agent's not going to make it.
He's not going to. That's horrible.
I believe he's in medically induced coma, or it's in a coma. They don't believe he's going to come out of it. But yeah, it's Elway's friend, like longtime friend.
Yeah.
And they were on a golf cart. Elway was driving. That's what came out later. Elway was driving the golf cart. His friend fell off and hit his head, and he's not going to make it. They went to, I think they were at Stagecoach that day, and then hanging out after. I don't really know. There's not a lot of details about like how it happened, how he fell off, but
they're saying there's no indication he was driving like sporadically. So that's horrible.
No, it's a terrible situation. I mean, John Elway's basically going to lose his friend. That's the nuts and bolts of it, but a freak accident too.
Yeah, dude.
And I think what's the agent's name?
The guy you're talking about?
Yeah, the guy who got hurt.
Hold on one second. I got you. Jeff Sparebeck.
Yes. Yeah, he was only 61 too.
Yeah.
Because at first, I heard that, and you're like, oh, I wonder how old he was. Like, is this? But like, it's just 60. I think it's 61. It's fucked up.
Yeah. That's no good, my friend. I didn't know he wasn't going to make it.
Way to bring the show down. Way to bring down the mood. This is something we never see. Las Vegas Raiders, A in the draft. Las Vegas Raiders, A
Raiders
in the draft.
fans, I mean, good God, man. This is probably one of the happiest they have been about a draft in a very long time. I love what they did. Genty, good God, they needed to revolutionize their run game. Genty is going to do just that. I looked at him for the Packers. I love the fact, go and get another receiver, make that offense even better. I love the Darian Porter pick. I'm about it.
They got very good players in 3 areas they needed help at the top part of the draft.
Yeah.
Add a couple offensive line a little bit later.
I just think, they obviously go back-to-back quarterbacks in the 6th. But with Geno Smith, I think he is going to make that team better. I don't know if they're going to be contenders this year. I have a little bit of trouble saying, they're going to be up there for a playoff spot right this second, maybe wild card. But Geno, they are going to be a better team than they were last year.
It all depends on Geno, and I think he's so much better than what they had last year.
Mm-hmm.
But how good is Geno in the context of how competitive the AFC West is going to be this year? We don't know yet. I assume he's going to be fine. And if Genty's as good as advertised, and half of what Geno has to do is just hand off, then watch out.
Just like always, Evan. Like always. The Eagles always going to get their A's, their Howie Roseman. Rich get richer.
Same with the Chiefs, Evan.
Why don't you update your profile pic?
No, I don't update shit, JNLP. That sounds like work. That's fair. Plus, the beard will probably be back. Who knows? Chargers, B+.
If a team drafts a guy, is it guaranteed they make the roster? Do they still get a signing money? Interested in the future of 4 to 7 picks? There's guaranteed money that's worked in there that they get, or there's a signing bonus that they're guaranteed to get. So no, they are not necessarily guaranteed to make the roster. There's plenty of guys in the 6th and 7th round that don't make it.
Yeah.
They get cut. So they just get the guaranteed money. And usually as the rounds go on, it's less and less and less. And sometimes there's no guaranteed money. But yeah, they just get they get what they're guaranteed. That's all.
Everybody who gets drafted should get $1 million.
I mean, they get a good amount of money.
At least.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, he's insane, Brandon. He's insane. That's why I asked him to not go to the Bears.
Genty's good. Yeah, I got him in my division instead.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Chargers. Yeah, I love the Trey Harris and Hampton pick.
Did you see that photo where Hampton looks like he's 7 feet tall, shaking Harbaugh's hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we thought Omarion Hampton was a Bronco.
Yep.
We thought that was going to happen.
Appreciate you.
So, yeah, we like it. As a football mind, as a Broncos fan, he's dead to me. Omarion Hampton's dead to me.
What a great name, too.
I hope he has negative rushing yards. I hope Najee Harris stays in front of him, gets 3 yards per carry, and the Chargers win just 8 games. They had Trey Harris. They needed receiving help. I think that's a nice pick for him. I thought this guy's name was Jamari. It's Jamari. Just shows how white I am. Oh, Jamari Caldwell. I was like, dang, that's a cool name. Got it wrong.
I feel like for the Chargers, going to get Hampton, I know wasn't like the most expected thing. A lot of folks are like Matthew Golden, who was right there. The Packers eventually take him. I feel like with Harbaugh, this makes all the sense in the world, right? Like they go and get their dynamic running back. The Najee Harris signing did not impress me when it happened. Like, I think he can consistently get you some yardage, but it wasn't like, oh man, this is going to put them over the top. Now with Hampton, and you have a potential 1-2 punch, and you have your running back likely of the future, I feel a lot better. And now to have that dynamic offense, you go and get your receivers. They already brought back Mike Williams. Yeah, I think the Chargers are in a really good spot for this upcoming season. They just actually have to execute.
And they put the tinder on J.K. Dobbins. So unless somebody else, makes a deal with him, like if somebody wants him, they have the right to negotiate with J.K. first. So I think J.K. Dobbins is back. And that's a very nice trio of running backs the Chargers have, and they're going to run the ball a lot. So it makes sense. Rams get a B+. They take Oregon tight end Terrence Ferguson, another guy the Broncos were looking to draft in the 2nd round. They wanted Mason Taylor or Ferguson. Both of those guys went off the board before they could pick. The Rams, though, I think I would have liked for them to pick in the 1st round just because Stafford's getting old. They add a 1st round next year, so we'll see what happens here. I was surprised they add another edge rusher based on how effective their pass rush was second half of last season.
I like that they got Ferguson. Yeah. Like that, I do like that. I agree, but I also think that the Rams are in a really good spot within their division. Like, I still think that they're probably going to be favored to win the NFC West.
Yeah. I really don't understand what they're going to do with a 39-year-old basketball player, but that's just another Sean McVay one step ahead of everybody else.
I left this question up because I think that this is a perfect you question. What NFL player would make a great next Pope?
Bo Leave, baby.
I'm going Jamal Williams. The most entertaining Pope we ever had.
He's too hip to be the Pope.
Hold on. What if it's Russell Wilson?
Dude, even the Catholics, the Cardinals would be like, you believe a little too hard, Russ.
A little too
much.
You
believe a little too hard.
Too much.
In God for our liking.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
The worst Pope would be Aaron Rodgers. We know that.
Hey, French was awesome. It was amazing.
Maybe Derek Carr. He's already preaching every other weekend.
Yeah. Dolphins. Dolphins needed a lot of things, heading into this draft, including God. And I feel like building up on the trenches is the right thing to do. When I like the Kenneth Grant pick. I know there's some Dolphins fans who are like, hey, are we going to actually protect Tua? That's where you have the next pick come in. And I feel like they're another team in talking about like the pressure that's heading into this season. They need to just figure out what the hell is going on with Tua. They need to make sure they can get through a season with him. And it just seems like that window, which looked wide open a few years ago, is starting to close a little bit. We'll see what's going on with their secondary. But yeah, the Dolphins need this draft to do well. I really hope Kenneth Grant can be the playmaker, that I think a lot of people expect him to be, because that is going to help out on the defense significantly.
Yeah.
But he's also a little bit of a raw talent. So,
and they took Quinn Ewers in the 7th.
Yeah.
Dude, Quinn Ewers should have went back for another year.
I don't think it would have hurt.
No, it would have helped. I mean, next year quarterback class stronger, but he needs a little more time to marinate. Mm-hmm. If Kenneth Grant's good, hopefully that helps their edges this year. Hopefully their edges can stay healthy.
Dude, and getting Phillips to like pair with Grant too, like I think that's building those because the defense they get a bit better. They needed to get better up front. So yeah, we'll see.
That's got to make
Vikings.
You happy. C-.
That's right. These draft grades that mean absolutely nothing. Suck it, Vikings.
Is it a C- just because they only had 4 picks? Or what, 1, 2, 3, 5 picks? Is it a C because they just had not... Because, like, Donovan Jackson, right away, that seems like a good pick. In what ways?
Nope, we're good.
That's a dangerous accusation to put on Justin Tucker.
Okay? Anyway, I actually really like the Donovan Jackson pick if I'm Minnesota.
Yeah.
Again, they address trenches, in free agency, but
this is probably the only pick they needed to make.
You have like a rookie quarterback that's coming in. You saw what happened to Sam Darnold, in that playoff game against the Rams. I think it makes sense. Felton, I think you don't need on that offense, but if he can develop like into that wide receiver 3, you're going to be fine. So I don't think it really blows me away what they did, but the Vikings already had a competitive team. It's just going to depend what the hell is going on with their quarterback. Is JJ going to be able to step in, and be productive?
You better watch out for Gavin Bartholomew.
It's a great name.
Week 15. Vikings Packers. Game on the line. Bartholomew in the end zone with the touchdown. Packers fall to Bartholomew. Again.
I hope Ashton Genty rushes for 200 yards on you in both of those games. Because this is now the second time. First you had the Packers losing to the Bears. Now you have the Packers losing to the
Bartholomew. Ain't nobody fucking with that guy.
15 months from now, you're going to be like, I'm always for the Packers. I always want them to win. I'm always rooting
And do not call him Bart. Don't you dare. It's Bartholomew.
Bartholomew.
Patriots.
Yes.
Everybody loves the Patriots draft.
T-Rex Nation, arise! Will Campbell. Dude, if you had, because he always gets crapped on that he has shorter arms, which, by the way, T-Rex, king of the dinosaurs.
His lower half of his body is thick. When he walked out on that stage, I'm like, he is plump in the legs and buttocks area. He is going to set those anchors, and with those tiny arms, nobody getting around him.
No.
Great. You needed a tackle. They got one that many thought was the best. Travion Henderson.
I love that pick for them. Holy crap, I love it.
Yeah. Another guy we really wanted. Underrated part of his game, he's insane in pass protection. So not only is he explosive, not only can he catch passes out of the backfield, he is going to save Drake May's life the way that Will Campbell proclaimed he would do on draft stage.
If you were slightly nervous about the Will Campbell pick and then to have him teary-eyed say like, I'm going to die protecting him, I feel like a lot of my fears are even if he sucks, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to give that man the benefit of the doubt. And if they are able to shore up their offensive line, which they already did, they bring in Henderson, they got some weapons to throw to as well. The Patriots are kind of in the boat with the Raiders for me. Like they are going to be a better team this year just because of the pieces that they got. So as long as Drake May is able to take some steps, they're going to be competitive. And in a division where the Jets, the Dolphins, a lot of question marks. The Bills are obviously going to be the front runners there. I feel like the Patriots are in a really good spot right now.
Patriots feel like they're going to be a lot better than they were last year, but still not quite where they need to be.
Sure.
As they build upon like some of these picks and their free agency round. But yeah, it's hard to not think that they won't be a lot better.
And if May is good, then it's like, oh damn, give him a couple drafts and you're rocking.
And I like Drake May. I think he's good.
All right, the Saints.
Oh boy,
the Saints.
Kelvin Banks?
Boring pick. Kelvin Banks Jr. It's a boring pick. I think it's the right pick. The problem is if you're a Saints fan, this is the fourth offensive lineman that you've drafted in the first round since 2020. And it's like, okay, at what point is our offensive line unit just going to be like really good and we don't have to worry about it anymore? Yeah. So hopefully you get there with Banks. And then going Tyler Shough so in the second round. Where are your thoughts on that, Perna? You give a little hope. Give a little bit.
I think he's. We know so little about him as I think a football player because he had so many significant injuries in college. So it's really you're looking off one season where he was finally healthy. But he rose so significantly between when the college football season ended and when the draft started. Like people were talking about him as a first round possibility. Mm-hmm. The question I have about that is, did people start talking about him in that way because they knew the Saints were high on him? Were any other teams like Tyler Shough is the dude? Mm-hmm. We think this guy's great. We could take him, first, second round even. Mm-hmm. Or are we basing like that entire narrative off of just one team getting high on him? And I think it's the Saints. It sucks too because like everything people see with Tyler Shough are his two meme passes. There's the bad throw at the combine and he had the underhand lob like in a game. That's insane. But he's got a good arm. He played some nice football that last season. It's just hard because you don't have anything really before that because of injuries. He was in college for 39 years. I believe he was at Oregon while Justin Herbert was still there. So there's that part of it. But I think he's hardened. He's been through some shit. Sure. I think it's a safe pick where they took him in the second round. It might not work out, but I think like there's upside there. There's upside with him. And if he's bad, then maybe that's what the Saints find. I don't think he'll actually be that much worse than Derek Carr.
Well, so the concerns that besides obviously the injuries is that he is older. And I think that combination of just having
don't care.
That combination.
Same thing about Bo Nix last year.
Well, wait 2 seconds. To draft him in the second, I feel like they could have gotten more value there because I'm going to be very blunt here about the Saints. If let's just say they didn't draft Tyler Shough here and they missed out on him, right? I don't know how much worse that team is going to be this year. I feel like they are a rebuilding team. And I like what they did in the draft, right? Here, I just feel like they could have gotten a little bit more value. But hey, dude, if he turns out to be good, no one's going to give a crap about where he was drafted. I just feel like the Saints are in a position where their team just needs to get significantly better. I don't think they're going to really be competing this year, in terms of winning the division. But crazier things happened. But this seems like a good, in the trenches, get better. They address their secondary and their defense a bit. I do like that they did that because, they need a lot of things.
They also got a great running back in Devin Neal in the 6th round. So I like that. I'm not worried about Shough's age, but it's just more of a state of the Saints. The Saints are in such a weird position that when you take a flyer like on a quarterback like this, it feels like it won't work out because of where he's going. And it feels like he's a guy who kind of needs a lot of things to work out for him to have a chance to succeed.
But he should have a better offensive line in front of him now, right? Like, that's going to help. So, and I agree with you. Like, having Eel back there, too, you're going to have Kamara. It'll be better.
A- for the Giants. They haven't seen that for a while either.
Yes. I like what they did in their draft, too. Abdul Carter was 1,000,000,000% the right move. They want to get better on defense. They already started to address their secondary in free agency because, they lost some guys last year, including McKinney. Jaxson Dart, I feel like, is hey, let's take a flyer. Like, let's go and do it. Like, let's take a shot, see what happens. You get a 5th-year option out of him, if he turns out to be good. And they're another one where it's like, okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I applaud the attempt because if it works out, it looked pretty good. And again, I also like the Skattebo pick too.
The Scat Man coming in the 4th round.
So good.
I think the thing that scares me about Skattebo is he's going to be compared to Saquon Barkley.
Of course.
And I think he'll be more productive maybe than Saquon's last year with the Giants, possibly. And I'm somebody who really likes the way he runs. Punishing, he's hard to bring down. But if Jaxson Dart is not the guy, Giants are fucked.
It's not going to be good. But again, like I like what they're building on defense. You're talking about the Giants, right? Like, I like what they're
their defense was decent last year too.
So I'm just saying, Jets, I like what they did too.
I think I would have flip-flopped these. I would have given the Giants a B+ and the Jets an A-.
The Jets are just doing what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're just, hey, the Aaron Rodgers experiment did not work out. We kind of got to build this back up from the ashes here. Go get Membo, which is the right pick there. Go get a tight end. I like the Thomas pick. And I feel like it's just you're building pieces and pieces because you got Justin Fields, right? I don't know how competitive they're going to be this year. And it's kind of just like, okay, let's just start getting the building blocks around, and we're probably going to go get another quarterback next year.
Yeah. Fields or Dart? Who has a better season? Man, we don't know when Dart's going to start, but let's just say if Dart started. Lawn darts. Oh, my God. Fields and Dart on the same team? We just call them lawn darts?
I mean, honestly, it might be Dart just because, he's got Malik Neighbors to throw to.
I love Mason Taylor here.
Side, but
the Jets posted a highlight of Justin Fields throwing. It wasn't that impressive, New York. It was just a regular pass.
I don't think they're going to be very good this year. I think, again, you're doing the building blocks because there's going to be a multi-year rebuild. But, yeah, it's going to be something. Yeah, just throw to Garrett Wilson the entire time. Eagles, of course, getting an A, right? Campbell falling to them just seems like it is just a plethora of riches. He doesn't need to, be there right now. Going and addressing safety, they definitely need to go and do that. So, I mean, the Eagles are still just going to be really damn good. So,
yeah, I mean, they lost a couple guys on defense, right? Milton Williams left.
Josh Sweat.
Mm-hmm. But they kind of already have Sweat's replacement in Hilux. They're bringing in Ty Robinson. That's probably where you're going and getting, production replacement on your D-line. Feels like they can do no wrong right now. So
John 4-13.
We'll stick with that.
And they already had such a strong roster.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that Campbell fell to them, I think they got a lot of great value there too. So, dude, yeah, the Harmon pick, first of all, I love Derek Harmon going to the Steelers. The guy is constantly in the backfield. He can get after the quarterback. He can stop the run. His story was freaking heartbreaking, dude. His mom was on life support. She passed away after he got drafted. As the player, holy crap, man! I think Harmon is he screams Steeler. The Packers were looking at him too, or at least he was mocked to the Packers a whole lot. But I think this is a really, really good pick for them.
If Will Howard is a good NFL quarterback, the Steelers are going to be looked upon as having one of the smartest drafts of this year.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not, and if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play for him, or if he's terrible, they passed on Dart, and then they also passed on Shedeur.
I'm all good with both of those things.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine to say now, but we don't know yet. If Dart is very good, if Shedeur is very good, people are going to have questions about the Steelers. If they're not, then they look like geniuses. And that's what's fun about the draft. The difference between looking really smart and really stupid is it's so small. And it's based on so many things you can't even predict or project right now. But after Harmon, Caleb Johnson, nice pick.
I love Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer is good. So here's how I feel about the Steelers, right? I'm going to have the assumption that Aaron Rodgers is playing for them on a 1-year deal for $10 million. I'm just going to assume that at this point, right?
He has to be $10 million now.
Yeah. So exactly, he's locked in on there.
$1 more, he looks like a greedy asshole.
Build the defensive line, which is what they're doing, to get another running back in there with Warren. These are, again, building blocks. Now, I think they might have, let's just say it's Aaron Rodgers, probably a 9-10 win team, right? Nothing crazy. But then if they're able to have the ability to go draft a quarterback next year and take a really big swing, I'm all about it. Because I don't think they had to draft a quarterback. Because they didn't
have to.
In this, all right, we're not rebuilding.
Except for the fact that they were the team who needed the quarterback absolutely the most in the draft. But whatever. So, they had 2 quarterbacks on roster.
That's what I'm saying.
One of them is Mason Rudolph. I think they didn't need a quarterback.
They have the same issues that they've had for years, though. They need a franchise starting quarterback. And I don't think that they believed that anybody on the draft board where they were picking was going to fit that bill. And so with that in mind, I'm okay with the decisions that they made. So they go and get Will Howard, right? They're taking a shot. Maybe he winds up be pretty good. He sits behind if Aaron Rodgers is playing. Cool. But they're another team, and their fans have been saying for a while, if they wind up sucking this year, it's not the worst thing. Yeah, it's another TJ Watt contract.
They're in a win-win for that. They're the one franchise where their fans are yearning for a season of suck.
Saints are too, but yes. Yeah.
They're praying their team sucks this year so they can be in a position to actually get a guy that they can,
because
put their hope into.
Because let's just take Kenny Pickett, right? So when Kenny Pickett was drafted, it was kind of okay, yeah, Pittsburgh guy, whole 9 yards. I don't know if the hype was insane.
He was.
It was kind of I hope this works out.
That was the last draft where we were there's a chance a quarterback does not go in the first round.
Yeah.
That's how low people thought of those quarterbacks in that class. And the Steelers were the one team that was 20 for a quarterback, might as well do it.
Yeah.
And now they're at 21 for a quarterback. They're we're not doing that again. I think that draft probably affected how they approached this draft.
Mm-hmm. The 49ers, they made Robert Saleh really happy.
Yeah.
I can say that.
I don't know how you give him a D. Dear God.
I would imagine it's a couple things. Not going O-line at all is a very curious decision. But if they're just hey, we're going to beef up our defensive line and our defense as much as humanly possible, I like it, and all these are areas of need. They need to get younger. Mykel Williams, not the best as a pass rusher, but good God, he could stop the run. And if he could develop with Nick Bosa and get better at pass rushing, that pick is going to age really well if he could develop into a really good pass rusher.
But it's not their offensive line was the worst line in the league. Their line is fine.
The depth is a problem. The depth is an issue. And I feel they need
to... They did add, DJ Humphreys? Just in the last day or two or whatever?
Slimmer.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know a lot about their line depth. I think they're a team that banks a little bit more on their scheme for it. And sure, maybe you would have wanted an offensive lineman, but if they weren't high on any... I don't think it justifies giving them a D. because I thought their other issue is their defensive front. So they went all in there. Maybe that pays off, maybe not. And maybe I just think it's a little steep to say D for the Niners.
But Seahawks, I think that they had a great draft. Going to get Zabel, he fell right into their laps. They needed interior offensive line. Super that they make the secondary, but Imawari, I love that pick. They go get another tight end too.
Yeah.
The Jalen Milroe pick, I actually am like, hell yeah. If like Jalen Milroe like could actually develop, because he has just such a skill set, man. Like his athleticism is insane. So if they can find a way to utilize him, obviously they're rocking with Sam Darnold for at least a little bit. But I'm spending a third rounder to say, hey, maybe we get our guy of the future and see if he can develop here. Why not?
Yeah, I like a lot of these picks. We wanted Arroyo in Denver. Mm-hmm. We're like, okay, Evan Ingram. Let's say the Broncos wait a little bit longer. This is the guy who's got the athletic tools, have a little time. He can be a really good tight end. And I believe the Broncos were considering him as well. I think we picked at 50. Did the Broncos pick at 51? And he went before, and that's when they traded back. That's a nice pick. Torrey Horton out of Colorado State, a gem. Really talented receiver.
They need more receivers too. So,
and then you're right, Jalen Milroe. You can use him this year, like your
Taysom Hill.
Yes, your Taysom Hill.
No, I think the Seahawks, I think, had a very good draft, and they're another team that it was assumed that this was going to be a rebuild year, and I still am not completely sold that they're going to be a playoff team. I think they'll be hanging around there. It's just depending on how well Sam Darnold's going to play. But going and getting Zabel makes me feel a lot more confident about the state of their team right now, especially that offense.
Yeah, and you're thinking maybe it would have been nice if they grabbed another lineman a little bit earlier, but like, we'll see.
The Buccaneers were crazy with that first round, dude. Them and the Panthers both deciding to go wide receiver. And Egbuka, because I had to look at him for the Packers, like he is very NFL ready, right? Like he just seems very, very polished. And for him to like be able to hop in there with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who are both getting older, who have both suffered injuries, I get it. The fact that you just paid Chris Godwin a bunch of money, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit interesting. And I feel like that offense should be pretty damn good. They went and got McMillian. What was that, last year, right? They just drafted him. So I think it was a little like, okay, because they needed to go get edge rusher or maybe in their secondary. They go and get Morrison too. As long as he's healthy, he should be totally fine. And then they go and get Parrish too to double up on that. So they address this later. They double up both on CB and edge rusher later in the draft. But I feel like the Egbuka one was just a little bit of a head scratcher, but it could turn their offense into something really cool. It was just there was other guys there that I thought they could go get.
Yeah, because Jalen McMillian played well for him when, like Evans and Godwin both were hurt at the same time. McMillian kind of saved it, as did Bucky Irving in terms of their two rookies. But it's probably how they're going to use Egbuka, in that lineup. If they're going to use him ahead of McMillian, it's going to be like in the slot. That's probably what they saw, and probably he's like, I can't believe he's still here for us. Let's take it. They're the team that took Shedeur Sanders. Lot made about Shedeur. They got Shiloh.
Yes, they did.
Who I can tell you is a liability on defense.
Yeah.
He gets penalties. He was constantly ridiculed for taking cheap shots. But I like that he's getting a shot there. Okay. Defense after that. All defense after that, which is what they needed to do.
Yeah, Egbuka, and I feel like he is just behind Godwin and Evans. I love the player, 1,000,000%. I was like, okay, they just got to hope that the rest of their draft pans out for on defense.
And I do need to toot my own horn here. Before the draft, I did a video with Check the Mic. They had everybody they had a bunch of people talk about their favorite players. My two favorite players, I picked Tez Johnson and Desmond Watson.
There you go.
I picked the lightest guy and the heaviest guy. Heaviest guy in NFL draft history. Paired them together. Buccaneers got them both. That was a prophecy foretold by me. So don't fucking forget it. I was on that shit. Tez Johnson also the not officially but adopted brother of Bo Nix. Tez grew up, lived with Bo Nix's family in high school. They played together at Oregon. Very cool story.
Yeah, Perna tweeted about that too, I think, right? That Brett Favre.
Oh, dude, that shit looks tight. Somebody said clickbait punishment. I'm like, man, I can't wait to watch this.
That looks like, they ain't holding back.
Brett Favre's legacy is going down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not relishing in that, but I do want to see all the drama and juicy details. Oh, and even his fucking, his welfare scandal, allegedly, the volleyball court, the money. Part of that, what came out today, is they were trying to get Shedeur Sanders. They were trying to build a new facility for Shedeur Sanders. So the drama around Shedeur can't even stop because that's been allegedly tied to Brett Favre as well. So anyway,
Titans. Nobody talked about Cam Ward whatsoever, but the best quarterback prospect in this draft. I like up on defense. I am all about that. And then in the fourth round saying, hey, we're going to give someone that Cam Ward can actually throw the ball to. The Tyler Lockett signing is not doing much for me. That happened during free agency. It's just not moving the needle because they do need weapons. But the Titans also just needed to get better, right? They spend a whole lot of money in free agency on offensive linemen. And I feel like that this is just, hey, we're going to try and get our quarterback. If Cam Ward can be that guy, they're going to be a better team. But then they can actually just start building off of the roster they already had.
Yeah. I like Gunnar Helm there. I think he's solid tight end. Hopefully they get a little more explosive in the receiving game.
There you go, Sam. Dude, I want Cam Ward to be so good. I really hope that he just blows the lead. I really hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know about the weapons he currently has, in Tennessee. Yeah. Like, that gives me a little bit of pause. I hope that offensive line is stronger. But, yeah, I really hope that he lights the league on fire.
I think he's going to look solid as a rookie. And then I feel like the season after is when we'll be like, oh, shit, Cam Ward, really good.
You know who one of the nicest guys I met during the draft was Jalen Milroe. Good God, man. Because, this happened at the Combine. Like, the last year was the first time I ever went to the Combine, right? And I got an opportunity to talk to some of these guys. Like, they're 20, 21 years old.
Yeah,
they're 2 to 3 years older than the kids that I taught, right? So, every single, just being able to be like, hey, just a huge congratulations on achieving a dream, right? I didn't even have a question for Miller. I just went up to him and be like, dude, it's awesome watching you play. And I just hope you have a great, he was the nicest dude. So,
yeah. I did my first quarterback video this offseason, and I was watching through everything, and I watched some of his interviews. I was like, I love this guy.
So nice, man.
I love this man.
Yeah. So I'm all about it. Commanders, I actually like their draft a good amount. So Connolly Jr., so now this makes sense. They, of course, go and they get Tunsil from the Texans, but now their offensive line should actually be good, right? Trey Amos, oh my God, I love that pick. I want him for the Packers so badly, but they go and they get a guy who's pretty ready for the NFL right now. And they go get some more weapons on offense. They didn't have the most amount of draft picks, but I think what they spent in free agency, and again, similar for Deebo Samuel, that's not really moving the marker for me based off of the play we saw last year. So I wouldn't be surprised, if that doesn't pan out. But, going and getting Jalen Lane, you have a scary Terry. You got some weapons. And I think just going at Connolly is not the sexy pick, but you always need an offensive line to protect, your brand spanking new quarterback.
Yeah. Solid. They're trending up. I think Amos is going to have an impact for them.
Yeah.
Right away.
I really like that pick.
It's a really nice pick.
Yeah. I really like that pick. So they got options. I mean, again, I think the Commanders might not, to get back to the NFC Championship game is going to be tough, but I think that they're on the road as long as Jane Daniels is continuously good. They're on the road to just being a consistently good team. But Perna, you look like you have to pee. You're in the position of leaning forward. You're like, I can't wait to hit off this. What do you got coming out today, buddy?
I've got to pee so bad, guys. Oh, the bladder is full. I got nothing coming out today.
Nice.
It's the break day. We're working on a Belichick video for tomorrow, though.
Perfect.
It's just I'm gonna take AI and how it generates video to the next level, guys.
What?
I'm going to give you what you want to see.
Anyway, yeah, I have things that are coming out this week. I think I'm going to put out a video today. I have power rankings to do. I have the vlog from the draft to put out too. That's just on me. I haven't had a chance to record a script yet. But yeah, there's lots of things coming out over the next few days. So we're going to do it. We're going to rock. We're going to roll.
Yes, Johnny, it is.
That's it.
Now it's because I drink 3 cups of coffee and this every morning to start my day.
That's it.
But I come from a long line of notorious urinators. My family pees a lot, and we're not ashamed to talk about it. You will not pee shame us, Johnny. We're a proud peeing family. We will out pee any of the top peers. Does it hurt right now? Should I not be wasting time? Absolutely. But I'm a man, and I can take it. I'm done now.
But folks, we'll see you probably on Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna and his bladder. And this is GPS. And you have been navigated.
You reached your destination.
I just wanted to hold it a little bit